AI can only make a real impact if we can connect our existing workflows and tools to it. The good news is, with Google, we can quite easily connect Gemini AI chat interface with our existing tools such as Gmail, Drive, Calendar, etc. So in this video, we'll be looking at the initial steps that anyone can take to onboard the agentic future using Google tools. And when I say agentic future, I'm talking about a future where we can talk to AI assistants to actually get things done using our tools and create mini or micro level automations. So, in order for us to do this, we have to connect our Gemini AI to our Google apps. Why we're doing this? Because once you do that, we can technically talk to all our Google apps directly from our Gemini chat interface. So we can talk to Gemini to get information, to summarize information from our Gmail, from our docs, from our Drive, and we can also create events in Calendar and create tasks in Google Tasks. So for some users, this may have been enabled by default. How do you check if this is the case for you? So if you go to your Gemini chat interface and then if you type alias and if you see this option popping up, then it has been enabled for your use case. If that's not the case, then you have to enable it manually. So for Google Workspace users, this is a three-step process where the first thing is the prerequisite I would say is your administrator has to enable it from their own dashboard. So once that has been done, from your side, you have to go to the Gemini chat interface and then you have to go to settings, go to apps, and then you got to enable it. And then after that, you have to come to Gmail and then you have to enable the smart features in Gmail. So we'll be looking at how we can do this part, assuming that the prerequisite has been done by your Google administrator. And then we'll also be looking at one simple use case demo on how this can be useful for you. In your Google Gemini chat interface, go to settings, click on apps, and then you have to enable this part. So in my case, you can see that this has been enabled. So that is the first step. The next step is go to Gmail settings and then you look for this option under the generals tab. You can look for smart features and then all you got to do is click on this icon so that you turn on the smart features in Gmail, chat, and Meet. So once you do that, you can go back to your Gemini chat interface and then wait for probably a few minutes and then you can type alias. You should be able to see these pop-up options. So in that case, you are set to go. So now we'll look into one use case example where we will be interacting with our Gmail and calendar from our Gemini chat interface. So the idea is I'm gonna chat with my AI, so-called AI assistant, to get information from my Gmail and then add an event to my calendar. Let's look at how we can do it. So in this case, we're going to be asking Gemini to check for Gmail and check for an email from a particular person for the last 1 week and then summarize the content. So you can see that when I type, I invoke the Google applications by using the alias here. And we can see it was able to check the Gmail and then give me an update as per what I requested. Okay, so there is two emails and then I'm gonna ask it again to check if there's any actions needed from my side. So we can see that when I asked, is there any specific action needed from my side, he was able to summarize, yes, there was a particular action needed from my side. I had to confirm the attendance. Okay, so now we know that the event has been confirmed on this day, and I want to add this to my calendar. So if you look at it, in this case, the calendar is not added yet. The event is not added in the calendar. So we'll see how we can use the chat interface to directly do that. So in this case, I'm invoking Google Calendar by using the alias, and it has added the July 18, 2025 event to my calendar. So let's look at it now. So yeah, that's it. So this is a very simple but effective demonstration on how we can actually get useful things done using our existing tools via our chat interface or AI chat interface. So what are the things that can be done? Technically, it's about read and write or create. But the create and write function is actually limited to your Google Task, Google Keep, and the calendar. Apart from that, in Google Drive, Gmail, documents, all you can do is you can read information and then you can summarize information. So examples, so we can ask you to check for dates from Gmail, and then we can ask you to check for specific documents from Google Drive, and then we can also ask you to summarize the document from Google Drive and summarize emails we saw earlier. Okay, we can also ask you to organize information from Google Docs. And then the create part is we can create reminder in Google Task. We can create stuff in Google Keep, and we can also check for information in Google Calendar as well as add events in Google Calendar. So at this point of time, some of you might have realized that, you know what, a lot of these things are actually routine job that I've been doing either on a daily basis or a weekly basis, etc. So if we can identify a sort of workflow that is repetitive on a regular basis, right? Okay, we do something from one Google app and then we take the information and then do another one in another Google app. If we can identify the sort of workflows, we can quite easily create automations. Where do we find gems? It's actually part of your Google Gemini chat application. So you look at the menu, you can see that there is gems there, and you can create new gems by clicking on Explore Gems. So for this gem demonstration, we'll be following up from our earlier example where we checked email from a particular person and then updated an event in calendar. So assume that this is a routine that you have to do on a weekly basis. Okay, there is an administrator in your company that kind of organizes site visits. So on your part, you have to check when is the visit. You have to confirm your attendance, and then any other details. Apart from the fact that you have to add the event to your calendar, right? So we will. This is a sort of workflow that is repetitive. So we will try to create an automation to look into it. So how do we create a new gem? By clicking on new gem and giving it a name and then giving it a set of instructions. Like, for example, step one, look at Gmail. Step two, look for information from this particular email or person. Step three, if there is any event, update in calendar. So it's as straightforward as that. We just give it instructions on natural language, but the important part is you have to kind of hint or specify which application that it has to refer to for what particular action. In this case, I'm going to be looking at one example that I've created earlier. So once you create gems, you can also update the instructions and details from here. So I'll just go here, edit, and the instructions are you check for email from the last 7 days from this particular person, and then I want it to like summarize the information in this particular format, and then we also ask it to specify if there's any follow-up actions that is needed from my side. and then if there's any actions needed, then we tell it, you know what, you can initiate the next action to add the event to Google Calendar. So once you do it, okay, you save, and then we can test it, right? So how do we test it? Let's select that particular gem, and then I'm just going to ask it to proceed. So it knows that the first job is it has to connect to Gmail. Okay, and then look for this particular information, particular email from this particular person for the last 7 days, and then it summarizes the information according to the format that we provided in the instructions. Okay, so there is two email, and then it summarized the information. So I'm going to ask it to add the event to the calendar. Since we already invoked in the instructions that you can use the calendar to add events, so you can do it quite straightforward. So yeah, it's similar to the sample that we saw earlier, but this one is some sort of automation that can be repeated on a regular basis. So that was a very simple yet effective demonstration on how we can talk to AI to actually get stuff done using our tools and our workflows. And we also saw how we can quite easily create automation using Google Gems. Now you think about the possibilities if we can add 10 more lines of instructions and then maybe add 5 more tools to it. So that's the future we're talking about, the agentic future where AI can get complex workflows done for us. So that's about it for this video. We'll catch up on the next video. Thank you.